We are born for trial, tribulation, and toil. And when it is not provided for us, we must go and seek it out. But where we find this trial, this toil, this tribulation, is it all equal? And will our efforts be appreciated? Welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Ford, and we are here for another poetry discussion, which will appear in two different playlists here on the channel. Number one being the poetry discussion playlist, and number two being the Dark Academia playlist, a playlist dedicated to the darkest aspects of literature. The poem in question today is Sonnet 19, When I Consider How My Light Is Spent, by John Milton. And it reads as such. When I consider how my light is spent ere half my days in this dark world and wide, and that one talent which is death to hide, lodged with me useless, though my soul more bent to serve therewith my Maker, and present my true account, lest he, returning, chide. Doth God exact day labor, light denied? I fondly ask. But patience, to prevent that murmur, soon replies, God doth not need either man's work or his own gifts. Who best bear his mild yoke? They serve him best. His state is kingly. Thousands at his bidding speed, and post o'er land and ocean without rest. They also serve, who only stand and wait. So, what do we have going on in this poem here, and how can I make this a dark academic poem without this right here being literal, right? The darkness, the light being spent. Well, what we have in this poem is the poet going blind. When I consider how my light is spent ere half my days in this dark world and wide, the poet is going blind and saying, I have just one gift with which to serve God. I have my poetry. If I'm blind, I can't serve God. If I'm blind, I can't write. I can't write. I can't serve. I can't serve. What use am I? This blindness is ridding me of my very value. So he asks the question out loud to no one. Doth God exact day labor, light denied? Though I will be blind, will God expect me to work? And he gets answered. God doth not need either man's work or his own gifts. God doesn't need your poetry. He's God. If he wants poetry, he has it. God does not need your poetry. His state is kingly. Thousands at his bidding speed and post over land and ocean without rest. Because he wills it, God sends people all over the world post haste. For God, people are all over the world doing all sorts of things right now. But this final sentence, they also serve who only stand and wait. That is not what serving God means. It does not mean to provide your gift to God. So how do we make this a dark academic text? Well, I want to read it not literally, not from a religious standpoint, literally anyway. I want to read it metaphorically. I want to take a step back from this poem and ask, what is actually going on here? So, the big question, if we're taking it metaphorically, is God, right? God is the big directive in this poem. And if we're talking about dark academics, I think we would have to translate God into knowledge. God in this poem, if we translate it into a dark academic lens or through a dark academic lens, God is knowledge. God is all of the knowledge and creation that there is to be had. And I don't think that's too big of a stretch if we're asking for a translation of what God means. God is knowledge. All of knowledge is God. Okay, great. Well, what about the driving incident here? How my light is spent. What is the blindness? The blindness here is just a time limited forcing function, right? It is the impetus to get up and go. If we are translating this, it could be something so simple as death, right? It could be something so simple as uh, cognitive decline. We are just putting a metaphor in there for cognitive decline with the idea that the speaker is going blind. So, what are we asking here? We are asking here in this poem, if we accept these translations, if we accept this as metaphor, the speaker is saying, listen, knowledge, if I am unable to research you, will I be okay? Is that all right? Can I still be a dark academic? Can I still be considered academic at all? And the answer comes thundering in. Knowledge does not need your ownership. The translation here, if we accept this as a metaphor, is actually pretty clean, is actually pretty straightforward, is actually pretty sensible. It is the speaker being told by knowledge itself, look, do what you want, baby. I'm still going to be here. So the one area of this poem, of this translation, that would get a little bit less impactful by having this translation is this. That final sentence there, they also serve who stand, right? Who stand still. In the religious reading of this poem, that line is seen, read, as revelatory. You mean I don't have to go out there and bust my hump in order to serve and still be considered among the best? But in the translated version, where we are assuming this as a dark academic text, that line becomes a little bit problematic in that there's just no pop to it, right? And it's obvious that this line is written in this poem to have pop. Now, can we sort of remedy that? I think that we can, because I think that if we are to assume philosophy as something of a science, as something of a as something to be researched, your philosophy is a type of religion. Imagine at the end here being told it doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter if you research me, if you study, if you do your academic pursuits, the knowledge will be out there anyway. Here in my garage. The irony at the end could be interpreted as our speaker saying, look, am I still an academic if I do not research? And the voice at the end is saying, well, that makes you a nihilist. That makes you a post-World War I nihilist, to be more precise. It makes you a defeatist nihilist, a weak nihilist. And being a nihilist, well, That's being a philosopher. So even if you do not serve the knowledge, in an ironic twist, you become a nihilist, which I don't believe that. I don't believe that definition of nihilism. But regardless, you do not search for knowledge. Philosophy finds you. So anyway, that is what I have for this poetry discussion. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting a like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other literature lovers. If you find yourself here by chance but not design, literature is the only thing I talk about on this channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. And as always, I hope to have you back for the next one.